Shamaya, you did it.
STL Music.
Is that good? Welcome back to the show. Yo, listen up, we back in the game. Sweep the league, we got the plane. Motivated to the fullest every single day. We wake up, get it in every way. Rockin' it, two on the global inspiration. Talk this sports and top news, no hesitation. Sweep the league is back. We always coming back, that's a fact. Wanna tell them that STL Music, mama, we did it, where we at? Coach Jill in the house with the flow so tight. Never done, rubber rock stats, we unite. Yeah, the best show, Monday through Friday. If this ain't different, they lying. We got the energy. When I say sweep, you say the league. Sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go.
Hey, it's Rain Fernandez, and you're watching Sweep the League. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and Facebook at Rain Fernandez, Rayne Fernandez.
2, 1.
Well, as you guys can tell, Derek Irvin doesn't miss anything. If you don't want to miss anything as well, go to YouTube. Search at Sweep the League TV. Be a subscriber today. We're giving away a bunch of prizes and stuff. Be a subscriber today so you don't miss, just like Derek never misses. Subscribe to Sweep the League.
Hi, it's Sherilyn, and you're watching Sweep the League TV. Follow me on Instagram at official Sherilyn for more content.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
All right, everybody, what is up? It is the Tuesday night delight edition of Sweep the League. Very, very good weekend. Just came and gone. It was Hall of Fame weekend for Derek Irvin, the UTSA Hall of Famer, inducted this past weekend. Derek Irvin is in UTSA history, Hall of Fame. Now you go to the training center. You can go see his plaque that's there. He was honored at the UTSA game this past weekend against Florida Atlantic. So I mean, it was a great weekend for Derek. He said he kept his speech pretty short. He's going to be joining us here at the 9 o'clock hour in about 10 minutes. He said he's going to jump on, so we'll be talking to Derek about his Hall of Fame weekend this past weekend for UTSA. A lot of college football, a lot of NFL football, obviously. Tons of injuries. We're going to go over a lot of that stuff as well as some trade ideas that you are seeing kind of bounced around in the NFL. You see Myles Garrett from Cleveland potentially being on the block. Cooper Kupp is the name. Deebo Samuel's another name to watch out for. I don't really think so on the Deebo part because of Brandon Ayuk's injury. So you may see Deebo just basically stay in San Francisco because with Ayuk out now, they're going to need some weapons. But right now, Myles Garrett, Cooper Kupp, two of the guys that you're probably going to see on the move here. NCAA, Texas loses to Georgia. I said Texas would win. Gio's a very happy man because his Georgia Bulldogs went into Austin and crushed the Longhorns from the very beginning. It seemed like Georgia disguised a lot of their defenses very well against Texas, made it very difficult for Quinn Ewers. And the little time we saw with Arch Manning, Sark had a tough time against Georgia. But again, it's the SEC. We're not expecting anybody to go undefeated in the SEC. Bama did lose to Tennessee, so that's a 2-loss team. That puts Bama way down in the rankings. So we're going to kind of go over that if Gio joins us here. He's supposed to be joining us here in just a little bit as well. Kind of went a little early tonight, so definitely wanted to talk a little bit about NBA as well. The NBA season is kicking off. We're going to try to do an NBA preview, a full NBA preview show tomorrow. Probably going to do it in the morning, I believe. If not, we'll do it sometime during the day tomorrow. and then the replay will be tomorrow evening at 9 o'clock. Tim's in here. Yep, we always know that. Detroit and UTSA legend Derek Gervin. Congrats, my friend. Yes, congrats to Derek Gervin. It's going down on a Tuesday. What's good, fellas? What's cracking? Stay blessed, stay real, and most probably remember, no feelings, only chaos. Definitely. Shout out to Chris Leha, MCS General Contracting. Anything you need, general contracting. I mean, you need to pour this slab. You got to get the swimming pool done, driveway done, redone because it was messed up the first time by whoever did it. You call the best. It's MCS General Contracting. Has the Sweep the League of approval, stamp of approval. They guarantee it just like Sweep the League guarantees it. They are the best in the business for a reason as MCS General Contracting. Kamara signed a 2-year extension, wondering if it's part of him possibly leaving, but he did say he didn't ask for a trade. I don't think they're going to ever trade Alvin Kamara. I think he's going to stay there for a while now. So I definitely don't see him leaving New Orleans anytime soon. Now, I do see New Orleans making some moves. I don't know if they're going to make them this season, but I do see New Orleans making some moves. As you can tell, Rattler, if he was to have, his offensive line is there, they've got injuries, obviously injuries to the receiving core, just a lot of injuries for New Orleans, but you are watching Spencer Rattler. I mean, the kid can play. You just got to give him, weapons and a line in front of him. So I think Rattler's going to be good there. But yeah, they're going to probably do a lot in the offseason. Tim Gonzalez, we are bowling, waiting for Gio. I want to thank him for predicting for my Blue Devils winning 4 games. Yeah, hopefully Coach Gio will be joining us here in just a little bit. Again, we went on a little bit early tonight. Just going to talk a little bit about NBA. We got an extra 15 minutes. I was hoping the guys would join me early with me, but they'll be on about 9 o'clock, hopefully. The injuries this year are absolutely insane, man. We have 3 starters, I think, still active, depressing. Yeah, it's tough, man. You want to start off hot, then the injury bug started to happen. You saw the offensive line go through the injury bug. Obviously, Derek Carr's injured. I mean, Olave, he went down with a concussion, or he was injured with, I think it was a concussion. You also got Shaheed. He's out now. So I mean, even the defensive line, I think, is a little banged up as well. Let us know. We can talk wrestling. Yeah, I'll let you know, Tim. It's always a show where we kind of just decide, oh, we're going to talk about wrestling. So definitely let you know, guys. Appreciate everybody joining us here. Go to our YouTube channel, search at Sweep the League TV. Hit the subscribe button, up to 932 subscribers on there. Appreciate everybody joining. Be sure to be a subscriber. We got a whole lot of stuff coming up here, so please be sure to be a subscriber. Haven't got any talk yet, but nonetheless, we have one of the guys on right now. So, all right, I'm gonna go sit in the corner and satisfying that. No, you got to talk, man. You got to join us here. You got to join us here, definitely. Let's bring on Coach Gio. Again, Derek Irvin's going to be joining us in here in just a little bit. And he was sporting the Georgia sweater last week. Now he's sporting the Georgia pullover today because, Gio, your Georgia Bulldogs went into Austin, and I'm not going to say did the unthinkable, but they layeth the smacketh down on one Sark Longhorn team.
Yeah, Georgia came ready to play. They normally started slow, and they did start slow on offense, but Texas never really got rolling until what, third, fourth quarter. So
Yeah.
Georgia was able to kind of keep that defense flowing, and that's exactly what they did. Kudos to Kirby Smart. He had that us against the world mentality, and I thought Georgia on defense, it looked like there was some life there. Something was there because they played on a mission. That first half, really, Texas didn't do anything. Georgia found ways, and I would like to welcome Texas to the SEC. As Rudy thought that actually, it seemed everybody picked Texas. I mean, I don't even recall anybody picking Georgia.
Did. There's no doubt about it. I did. I'm not gonna shy away from it. But what I did like was the fact that Kirby came in with a massive plan, and he disguised a lot of these defenses. You hadn't seen. I mean, you've seen yours kind of rattled before. Sark just looked completely lost, as if, hey, all the game film that we watched on Georgia just doesn't seem to be right. Something's not right. Kirby came in with a whole different game plan in Austin, and it showed, man. I mean, the schemes, the disguises that he had on defense. I don't think I've ever seen let's put it this way. I don't think I haven't seen this Georgia team this year play like that. But I think even in their better days, championship days, I mean, I have to admit this was a very impressive performance by Georgia. One of the better performances I've seen in years.
It was Carson Beck's still not the offense still not where it should be in under year 2. He's still throwing a good amount of interceptions. Not Carson Beck we've seen last year. If they can clean those interceptions up and that defense plays like that, then Georgia will be tough to beat in the postseason and potentially hopefully beyond that. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, Tim loves reminding me almost
Tim
once a
reminds
day,
all of us about
all
that.
of us about Duke going 6-1. Tim Lesnar 6-1, but they're not making the playoffs. So
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely not. Maybe they could show Matthew McConaughey one more time. Jesus, Joseph Austin is.
and
Yeah, I mean, why?
was that
I don't know why they showed Matthew McConaughey the whole
well?
damn
They
time.
always show him.
I know, but come on, man.
Was Chris Leon here crying about his team?
No, he's upset because New Orleans, was decimated by injuries. I wouldn't call it crying.
I mean,
Just like the Rams are decimated by injuries, it happens.
it's
It happens.
next man up,
Not
and
crying.
you gotta
Jeez.
as he was crying. He was telling me
No.
about how great his team was at the beginning of the season.
A healthy Saints team is just as good as everybody else. They kind of proved it.
No, it was a facade, Rudy.
I don't know about
That highest scoring offense, that was a facade. They weren't going to keep that up the whole year.
Can you honestly say that? For real?
Yeah. I mean, just like the Ravens didn't do anything right. They're starting to prove that.
Yeah, the Ravens. Okay, so the Ravens are proving us wrong because we didn't have the Ravens being this good this year. We figured with the losses on the defensive side of the ball that they weren't going to be great. They didn't have a receiving core. Mark Andrews was just terrible to start the year. But it just seems like MVP King Henry is the reason why the Ravens are who they are. People are saying, oh, it's Lamar Jackson for MVP. Yeah, I'm like, bullshit. It's Derrick Henry should be MVP.
He did throw 5 touchdowns for whatever it's worth. So, I mean, he played really well. Tampa's defense isn't. Tampa's defense is terrible. Also, Chris Godwin should have never been out there in the fourth quarter when the game was basically over. Tears his ACL for Chris Godwin. And look, Chris, you told me the Saints were this and that. After week 3, you could see, Rudy, the wheels starting to turn. And so with
I got your address. I'm gonna pass your address on to Leha so you can fly out there.
Even with Saints fully healthy, I think they would have turned into the old Carr. It's just I'm not sold on him. He's good for stretches, but he's not going to win you a Super Bowl, and it is what it is.
Well, they're not going to. I mean, no one's going to win the Super Bowl with the exception of the Lions, and that's by what Joseph's saying. Goff should be MVP. I'm not mad if Goff is in the MVP talks. I'm not. I mean, he clearly is one of the MVP candidates, but is he the MVP? Not right now. I think I've got Derrick Henry just far beyond everybody else right now as MVP. Lamar, you can put a case in there for him, but I mean, I would put Derrick over, Henry over Lamar and Goff right now. I think it's Henry. Then you can flip flop Goff, Jackson, whatever you want to do, but it's those 3 guys right now. That's just my opinion right now on that. Leha says the Rams just been asked, hey, you're trading your star wide receiver. They are trading Cooper Kupp. He's gone.
It's real possible.
It's going to happen. He's going to go somewhere.
I mean, the Rams right now, they're selling not a very good or not consistent offense. Their defense has been all right, but yeah, the Rams are ass. I mean, hello, Captain Obvious. I mean, just look at their record.
Wow, they are ass, man. They are pretty bad. We're gonna get into some NCAA football talk, but before we do, Gio, I got something I want to bring up here because this is kind of crazy. I don't know why I got all bent out of shape here, but I did, and I mean, it's whatever, man. All right, so I got bent out of shape earlier because someone sent me the screenshot of someone calling me a Debbie Downer on YouTube when I was on Locked On Spurs the other day. Reason being is because I said the Spurs were probably going to be a 30-win team and, don't expect much. Low end 28 wins, high 32, high end would be 32 wins. But, I just have to say that I'm going to apologize that I go on Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia, friend of the show. I'm going to apologize, Gio. I really am. I'm going to apologize for Waldo Castillo because I'm not one of the guys that gives you effing hope on a season where I don't expect anything to happen. I call it like it is. That's exactly what happens. You know what? We're not myself, Derek. We're not here to stroke the egos of, everybody and say, you know what? Hey, they added Chris Paul. Hey, they added Harrison. Have you seen Harrison Barnes in the preseason? He was probably one, if not the worst player on the roster, and he played all 5 games. So you look at the roster. Victor, year 2, gonna be good. Chris Paul, gonna help out, gonna be fantastic. I know he's gonna have a good year. I don't expect Chris Paul to make it the entire year for the Spurs. I expect him to be dealt at the trade deadline. I mean, friendly contract. A lot of teams are gonna want that contract. They're gonna want him for the playoff push. I don't expect the Spurs to be in the playoff push. If they are, great. But I never once said I don't cheer for the Spurs to win. I'd love for them to win 40, 50 games, go to the NBA finals. I'd love for all that. But the real side of sports talk is you have to keep it real. So I apologize for being a Debbie Downer. I really do. But this is
I
what
kind of like the name, Rudy Debbie Downer Campos Jr.
a Debbie, a Debbie Downer. I don't think I've ever been called a Debbie Downer.
Look, we all love our teams, but you have to call them out. You have to at times speak negative, and you're just giving your opinion. Hey, it doesn't mean Rudy's right. The Spurs might win 45 games, and people are going to come after Rudy and say, well, Rudy's wrong. Well, look, Rudy's wrong about a lot of things. I'm also wrong about some things, right? So it just comes down to we're giving our opinion. If you don't like it, hey, but I mean, 30 wins is still decent. I mean, what? I think DraftKings has it 35, right, Rudy? 35 and a half, I believe.
Vegas had it, I think, at 38. I think it down to 35. I think it went even lower to 33, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, throw a few dollars for Spurs to make the playoffs. It's possible. You never know. But, I mean, I do like the name, though. It's, but yeah, no.
Yeah, no, there's just no way. And I like fans, thinking that, that's the problem. And I'm sorry, man. We call it like it is here, bro. And it's like this. I'm not as popular as other podcast people in town. I'm not, I had a very brief radio career. I don't have radio like years of radio and everything. So I get it. I'm just another podcast hack who's been doing this for a while. But at the same time, I'm not gonna come over here and write, sugar coated pieces and shit like that and make videos and say, well, good God, they had a terrible season last year, but I'm optimistic that they're gonna be, 45 wins this year. Why? Because I have to say positive things. The only positive thing that I can say is 2025 is coming. Tons of free agents, better draft class. I'm kind of ready for that. So that's my rant for the night. I just had to let everybody know, like, hey, you know what? I'm a Debbie Downer. Who gives a crap?
Spurs basketball in general, I think, will be better, but you're still going to see a lot of inconsistencies, people jacking up shots as they did last year. So, look, 35 wins seems pretty reasonable for a team that's still building. And Victor, I mean, Rudy, if Victor takes, I don't know, 10, 20 steps forward and he's averaging 30 plus a game, it's possible. The Spurs can get to 35, 40 wins, but I mean, that's a lot to ask for when there's other guys that also got to step up as well. And I think they will, but
Yeah.
It's still a young team.
I got it. We got a Hall of Famer. Now we can't even say future Hall of Famer. We have to say Hall of Famer Derek Irvin. He's joined us on the show here. Let's bring him on to sweep the league. Derek, man, can't call you future Hall of Famer no more. It's flat out Hall of Famer Derek Irvin.
All three of us are Hall of Famers, man. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good. Yeah. Give you a couple minutes here, man. How was the weekend? I mean,
It was actually great. It was tiring, but it was good. They treated me well. I got to go out actually Thursday and meet the UTSA players, the new group for the first time. I met the coach for the first time. I was allowed to talk to the players. I talked to them for about 3 or 4 minutes, and just kind of told them the history of the school, and so that was good. As you know, the event was Friday. It was a very nice event, a very good turnout. Shout out to my friend Larry Keenan, or now Musin Keenan, for showing up. Of course, my brother and his family were there, and all my sisters were there, and it was a great event, man. I did a short speech, and I'm thankful I got to go first. So I started it off, and I had a quick speech, and the last 4 people, I love them, man, but oh my goodness. We're going to have, maybe next year, they'll probably be on a minute restriction, but overall, it was good. Oh, man.
So we did anybody time your speech? Because I think we put it at 7 minutes on Friday.
Like 6 minutes or something. Yeah.
Oh, see, I took the over. I took it like around 7 minutes 30 seconds. So
almost 6 minutes and 52 seconds or something like that.
Oh, I just missed it by like 9 seconds right there.
Oh, the other ones really were like.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
20 minutes. We had a guy, Teddy Williams, who played in the NFL. He was a track runner at UTSA, but he was so fast that he ended up playing for the Panthers. He played for like 17 or 8 teams or whatever, maybe 9 teams in the NFL. He was the last speech. And I love Teddy, man. Ooh, boy, Teddy can talk.
Well, it was a great weekend. You got honored at the UTSA football game as well. They honored you as well as the other UTSA Hall of Famers that went into UTSA's Hall of Fame this weekend. Great weekend. Now, it's over, but you're going to be immortalized in UTSA history, and that's the most important thing right there. When they talk about UTSA basketball and they talk to you, it's always referred to as Hall of Famer Derek Irvin. So, again, congrats from all of us here, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I went on my rant, so I'm not going to go back on the rant here that I made a little while ago about being called a Debbie Downer because we call, basketball games and all that the way we do. But NFL-wise, guys, the weekend it showed a lot. It showed how much I shouldn't believe in the Falcons getting blown out by Seattle by 20. And it also shows that the Lions are probably the best team in the NFL right now. And there's really no looking back. And I figured the Aiden Hutchinson injury would hurt. Doesn't really seem like it hurt him too much, only because now there's talk of Myles Garrett on the trading block. So Detroit's going to have to make some kind of move. What were y'all's takeaways from the NFL on week 7? I mean, you had so many games going on. The Cowboys, they got lucky. They can't lose to a bye, even though probably they lost somehow during the bye week. They can't lose in the bye. But me, it's the Lions are probably the best team in the NFL. And the other part that I take away from the weekend is the fact that the Jets made a splash with Devontae Adams, but it wasn't as type of splash you get in the pool. It was kind of like a raindrop hitting the forehead, and that's the splash they made. I remember saying that it didn't really do anything for me when they traded for Devontae. So I would say my AFC Super Bowl representatives, I'm probably going to have to change it after this weekend. So what did you guys think? What were your takeaways from NFL Week 7? I can go Gio first on that one.
Well, look at Kansas City. I actually watched that game from start to finish. Their defense is legit. This defense has been really good, specifically the last few years. Patrick's first Super Bowl run and even the second one, they weren't there yet, but they have been really impressive. Patrick Mahomes, he's still doing it. He had some guys out. The Chiefs, I know people are saying it's going to be hard to three-peat, but they're going to be right there potentially towards the end of the year. But I felt, looking at the Chiefs defense, man, they look really good. But the Lions, I mean, right now, especially on the NFC side, they just prove they're still the best team right now, at least. I mean, they still got to play the Packers, but the Lions have been the most consistent. And if they get Myles Garrett, I mean, it's kind of been like a cheat code, you know what I'm saying? So the Lions look really good as usual. The Jets, Rudy, what was that? I mean, kudos to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson played very, very well composed, and Pittsburgh's throwing their hat in the ring too. If Russell keeps playing like this, they have that running game, and the defense will play well. Only time will tell to see what happens. But the Lions and Chiefs, to me, kind of stood out. I thought they had some really good performances.
Do you think more on the Chiefs and 49ers game? Are the Chiefs really that good, or are the Niners just that bad?
I think the Chiefs are just that much better right now, at least. The 49ers, of course, injuries do matter. I know that's, you know, every team's dealing with injuries. And the 49ers lost Brandon Ayuk. I believe he's out for the year, Rudy.
He's out for the year.
Debo Samuels had a weird illness. I don't know what that was about. And Christian McCaffrey, I don't think, guys, we're going to see him for the rest of the year. And they lost Hargrove too, the defensive lineman. He's out for the year. He was out, I think, starting last week. So this is a 49ers team. But guys, we talk about it. To make a Super Bowl run, you got to have some luck, right? You got to have things go your way. And right now, the 49ers, it could be a sinking ship by the end of the year.
Well, we said that the window was closed, or the door closed after last season. That
it's hard.
There wouldn't be another run for the 49ers. And, you know, we couldn't predict injuries. So we didn't know that. But you could tell even a healthy Niner squad last year just didn't have the same giddy up. And that's why I think we felt like the opportunity was closing. The door was closing for the Niners on a Super Bowl, another Super Bowl run. Derek, takeaways from NFL for week 7 for you.
Well, as you know, I've been saying the Lions all year, but I got to right now. I ranked them. You saw my ranking from a few days ago, Rudy. I had the Lions number 1, the Ravens number 2, Chiefs 3, and Bills 4. As of today, I would change that because, first of all, we are going to have to, at some point, it's going to bother us not having Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
The guy is the best player on the team. And so you might get away with it for a few weeks, but at some point, it's going to come back to hurt us. And then we're losing our second best receiver for 2 games for performance-enhancing drugs or something. So he's going to miss 2 games. So when you have stuff like that, it upsets the rhythm, the chemistry. And so that's what scares me. But I think at some point, if we were getting Myles Garrett, I think we would be really tough. And I don't know right now. I just saw that about the Lions being the best defense in the league. I don't know about that because right now the Chiefs are looking – the only thing that's kept the Chiefs undefeated is their defense. This is probably the worst we've seen Patrick Mahomes over this course of time, over a 6-game span. I don't think he's played great. He still made some big plays. As you saw the run he made the other day when they thought he was going to go out of bounds. And, of course, he did a Patrick Mahomes move. So that still makes them dangerous. Yeah. But right now I would have the Ravens as the best team because – Lamar is throwing the ball a lot. I have to give him respect. He's been working. I can tell he's been working over the offseason, and his throwing is looking good. But I have to say one down thing. We've seen him do it before during the regular season.
Doesn't work in the playoffs.
But they didn't have Derrick Henry, who I've been calling lately. He's been looking like Eric Dickerson / Earl Campbell. Okay. And so that makes them scary. I mean, who can stop that? And right now, to me, I would have them over the Lions. I would have them over the Chiefs, and I would have them over the Bills right now. I just think the Ravens are looking at 5 wins in a row?
Yeah.
And they've been very impressive wins. So right now, I know some people said early in the season that the Ravens might not even make the playoffs, but
I said it.
And another guy below you on this picture,
too. Yeah, because I wasn't sure if that was a team, if the window was closing, right? Because it's been open for a bit here, and they just haven't been able to kick that door. But, Derek, we'll see
They
come
look good
postseason
right
time,
now. I agree with you. Hey, now let me ask you this: why you guys have the Packers over the Vikings?
No, not yet. Not yet, at least. I don't.
I don't. I saw they were rating on Stephen Smith's show, the fake show, not our show, that they had the Packers in the top 5 instead of the Vikings, and I don't agree with that.
I think I'm going just based off of quarterback. I would give me Jordan Love over Sam Darnold. One thing about the Chiefs, now they've had some injuries. One thing you can say about the offense, though, Rudy, Kareem Hunt has been a godsend. He literally walked off the street, and he has been a thundering ball. So they've been able to run the ball, chew up clock. There's been rumors, can the Chiefs get Cooper Kupp? If the Chiefs get Cooper Kupp, and if Kupp's healthy for the rest of the season, then that would be good. No, I know what you're laughing about. Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Jerry Jones I'm not sure it was a soundbite. I don't know if it was from this week or before the season
about Derrick Henry?
About Derrick Henry not being a fit.
That was this morning, I think, or yesterday.
Are you? Yeah. Did we not see him in that offense in Tennessee? It wasn't anything flashy. It was just hand the ball off and hit the gap. Is Jerry serious, Rudy? Was that a serious comment?
He couldn't have been.
Yes, what? It was. It was a serious comment.
Didn't he basically say, playing for the Cowboys, he don't know if Derek would be having that successful season like he's having with the Ravens?
Yeah.
So basically he's saying that he's accepting losing.
Yeah. I mean, it's Jerry. You know what? Jerry can basically put a Cowboys jersey and helmet on 11 bags of crap on the field, and he's still going to sell out 70,000 seats and sell all the merchandise in the world because it's America's team. And you don't ever, when you're a Cowboy fan, you're a Cowboy fan for life. Doesn't matter what product Jerry puts out on the field. It really doesn't.
Rudy, while you're on that subject, I got a question. Did Mike McCarthy cut his own throat? With the comments about Troy Aikman's comments don't really have an impact. They what he said wasn't really important as far as the team running the receivers running bad routes and them not looking like a good team. Is that the right thing to say in Dallas when you really haven't done anything? You're underperforming in Dallas?
No, I mean, McCarthy, well, let's just put it this way. McCarthy's defending his own team because what is there left to do? I mean, they're not going to win anything. As Sis said, they're going to come back and winning the ship. Bookmark this. I'd be surprised if Dallas came back and won a bag of chips. At the end of the
day. Might lose the next 5 or 6 games.
Cowboys come back to win the chip. Have you seen that defense?
He's joking. Trust me, he's joking. I mean, he might be serious. I don't know, but he might be serious.
I ain't bookmarking nothing.
I'll start it because I want to make sure. Yeah, that's what I said. Sith is being sarcastic. There's no way the Cowboys come back and win the championship. There's definitely a way. The way Jerry talks, he gave up when he was all in. I can swear he was probably in Vegas, at the roulette table or something when he said that. There was no way you're all in and you get nobody in the offseason. When Ezekiel Elliott is probably your biggest addition free agent wise,
and he's barely playing.
I mean, let's put it this way. I would have rather seen, big boy Eddie Lacy behind this offensive line because it would be more comical than what we're watching right now in Dallas. That's how bad it is. Hey, Rudy, I need you to be a real Falcon fan. I am a real Falcon fan. I picked them to win this week. And again, disappointment. Mr. Did you see that? Mr. Kirk Cousins, Mr. I throw for 500 yards. I mean, I'm a real Falcon fan.
Did I pick the Seahawks?
You didn't even pick. You didn't even show up. You weren't there that day.
You're right, but I would have picked the Seahawks because when Kirk Cousins,
you would have picked
when you need him the most, Rudy.
What did I tell you?
When he's flying high,
he's got a jello arm. He threw for 500 yards, man. The guy, I'm surprised he was even able to throw anything after that game. The guy, his arm was just gone, man.
Don't you think Seattle has a pretty good team?
They're decent.
but they're
I think
decent.
they
But
got a pretty good team.
I don't think they're either. I think their defense is now the Falcons. Just I don't know what that was on Sunday, but the Seahawks are susceptible to the pass big time, and I just don't think Atlanta just didn't do enough. Clearly,
You guys talking about Seattle? What about? The Falcons. What about the team? Who's falling off the ladder the most? Would it be what happened to the New Orleans Saints?
Well, Gio just pissed off half of the chat a little while before
Who
you got
dat?
on here talking about the New Orleans Saints. Okay, the Saints and the Rams. Who I had the Rams winning, like going super far in the NFC. I really did at the beginning of the year, but we can't blame the Saints. We can't blame the Rams for being decimated by injuries. I mean, both teams they're just decimated. So if I'm looking at a team that's fallen off the most outside of the injury bug, I mean, the New York Jets is one of them. The Cleveland Browns were a big team last year. They've only won one game this year. They're probably going to win a couple more now that Jameis Winston is starting. Jacksonville is probably another team that is falling off from grace. I mean, who else? I mean, the best team in the conference is the NFC North, and I can't believe I'm saying that. Even the Bears are 2 games over 500. But what about the Niners, Derek? I mean, the Niners, yeah, you can say decimated by injury, but it's really just Christian McCaffrey and now just Brandon Ayuk. I mean, that's a team that is another one that I mean, a lot of these teams.
Remember, though, Kittle had got banged up. At one point, they were without everybody except for Ayuk.
Yeah,
McCaffrey was out. They had most of their Debo.
But Debo's always out though, Derek.
Debo's been having issues. Yeah, so I look at it more. They're just sometime that year just happens where you get a lot of guys banged up and you never are able to gain your chemistry. You can't regain your chemistry. And then you got Rex Ryan talking about. I already told you that nonsense about Purdy being Drew Brees. Maybe Purdy started believing that. And it's a rough year for the 49ers, but I think they'll rebound. It's just they've had a lot that go against them this year. I still don't think they're a bad team. They're kind of handicapped with the injuries.
So is Brock Purdy even – I mean, is he just a game manager now?
I've been said, yeah. I'll take Geno Smith over Brock Purdy.
No, I would take Brock over Geno. I think it's just situations, and right now their offensive line is not great either. The Chiefs defense though is really good, great man-to-man defense, and they were blitzing him around, and it just wasn't a good game. But the 49ers are still a team to watch out for, and in the playoffs, if they go on the road somewhere, I won't be shocked if they beat
playoffs.
For the Niners?
Someone's got to win that division, and I don't 100% trust the Seahawks.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding?
They already beat the
Niners. Might be 6-11 or 7-10.
Beat the Seahawks already. So look, I'm saying is the 49ers could be the team that gets in by hook.
They're not going forward though, Gio. They've been going kind of backwards. If you look at their play on the field, sometimes you can't go by the record.
No, I know.
Go by how they actually look on. That's why I don't have Kansas City ranked number 1, because I'm not really going by their record. I'm going by their actual play on the field. And Kansas City has not looked like the best team in the NFL in my eyes.
But their defense there, you got to admit though,
the defense is good, but the offense hasn't looked up to par.
And
Mahomes got that gut. Mahomes got a little gut this year. We're just being honest, man.
But that's the scary part, though. They're undefeated, and Kansas City hasn't played their best football yet.
They were fortunate to get by the Ravens, as we know, by a toe.
Oh yeah.
And as you look at it now, the Ravens, if they were to play them right now, the Ravens will be the favorite in that game. So I think there's a few teams, and Buffalo, I think will get the Chiefs a really good game. So the Chiefs are undefeated, but I think their record is not what it should be. It's kind of overrated.
I agree. I mean, I've been saying that too. The Chiefs, I don't buy the fact that, I mean, they're 6-0, but I think it's a very questionable 6-0. And I mean, you've got Patrick Mahomes, who hasn't looked good, and Gio. I see where Gio's coming from. I really do, because they're 6-0, and you haven't gotten the best out of Patrick
Swift hasn't
Mahomes.
looked great, right? Travis Swift
and
hasn't
even
looked great.
Travis Swift hasn't even looked good either. So I mean, it's like this whole team plus the injuries. You know, Rasheed Rice is done.
And
Yeah,
really,
Juju.
don't
Yeah.
forget that part. Guys
Oh, yeah.
get paid, man. You know what tears the team apart first?
Money.
Guys start getting that money, man, and then start doing things like making commercials with their brother. And every time you look around, they're on a different commercial, the Kelsey brothers, and you can lose focus. And you know it doesn't take but one guy on that offense to lose focus to hurt a team, and that could be part of what's wrong with their offense this year. They haven't looked in sync to me. Now we know it could change, but we have to go by right now. And the Chiefs wouldn't even be in my top 3 to come out of their conference right now.
Gazzado's in here saying that he would take Colin Kaepernick over Brock Purdy any day.
What is this guy talking about, man? What is this?
It's an opinion,
Colin Kaepernick
man.
Colin hasn't even played football in how many years?
5 now, isn't it 5?
5-6 years, maybe. Yeah, I mean, who cares? It's an opinion. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he'll take Jamarcus Russell over Brock Purdy right now. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds like what he would do. Yeah.
No, I'm not going to downgrade. I'm not going to disrespect Purdy like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Geno Smith. Now that's.
Colin
would you say would you take Doug Flutie over Brock Purdy?
No, Purdy's a good quarterback, man. He is. He's been kind of handicapped with the injuries as well, but I mean, he's proven that he's definitely he's
when
not.
He's on. He's on.
He's in the top 15 quarterbacks out of 32 teams. I would have him in the top 15.
That's not saying much, though.
I would have him over the guy who finished second in MVP voting last year, Dak Prescott. I would have Purdy over him.
You said you got him top 15. So obviously he's better than Andy Dalton, teams. Bryce Young. He's better than Drake May because he just started. Obviously he's better than Deshaun Watson. I mean, I'm better than Deshaun Watson right now. I have a better QBR rating than Deshaun Watson does.
He's better than Trevor Lawrence. He's better than Russell Wilson. He's better than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
He's better than Joe Flacco, Anthony Richardson. I mean, you want me to keep going? He's better than Kyler Murray.
Ooh.
What?
Good one. Is Brock Purdy better than Kyler Murray?
Man, please. Kyler's just a little bitty guy that every now and then could get out and run. He can run the field, but I mean, come on. Kyler's okay, but Kyler's
better than Kirk Cousins?
Huh?
Is he better than Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I put him over Kyler because he at least reads the playbook.
And it sucks as Daniel Jones read the playbook and he's still
not there's another one. Daniel Jones.
Well, that's your boy, Rudy.
Yeah,
David Carr.
That sucks. Yeah, he is my boy. I get it. Well, all right, we're going to do our quick segment before we go to commercial break. We're going to do our, what is it called? Caught Off Guard segment here. Let's go at it. All right, guys, our friends over at Pro Football Talk have released their power rankings after going into week 8. Here's the power rankings. Do we agree with it? Lions 1, Chiefs 2, Ravens 3, Vikings 4, Packers 5, Texans 6, Commanders 7, Bills 8, Niners, Steelers, and rounding up the top 10 are the Eagles. These are our friends over at Power Football Talk power rankings. Guys, are you agreeing with these power rankings? Because I don't know. I personally, I've got Buffalo way higher than that.
Okay, well, there's your answer. I'm offended that they even have Buffalo number 8. Are you kidding me? Behind, you got Josh Allen behind a rookie. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I look at. I see the Cowboys are barely scratching the top 20 according to Power Football rankings. So that's over there. The only other thing I can think of is, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would probably put the Bears higher than 14 right now. Just going into week 8, I would probably put them higher than 14. But nonetheless, I mean, these are the power rankings. Gio, you got anything on our friends over at Pro Football Talk and their power rankings?
Pretty good. I mean, the Chiefs haven't lost. The Lions have lost, but I guess obviously it's week to week. But no, it's a pretty good list. I mean, the Bears have been playing well. Let's go see what it's like this week. But a pretty good Tampa to me is I think Tampa's fraudulent.
Very
that defense. That defense has been terrible.
Yeah.
And now with Godwin out, Evans might be out for a few weeks with that hamstring. Baker's going to be throwing to Plummer soon. But no, I think Tampa needs to be down to number at least 16. Though I don't love the Broncos either, but the Broncos defense has been playing really well. And
jeez, yes.
Gio, Rudy, can I ask a quick question to get off the top 10 just for a second?
Yeah.
When you brought up the Buccaneers, what did you guys think about when Chris Godwin got hurt? Did you see Todd Bowles over there?
With a smile?
Yeah.
I did.
I posted that last night. I erased it today, but I was actually pissed off. The guy got hurt, man. First of all, he's in there in the last minute of the game. He gets hurt with about 50-some seconds left. And then the coach, you show the coach, he's over there smiling. I didn't get it.
I didn't get it either. I mean, I don't understand why a coach would be happy. I mean, not saying he was happy, but smiling at the situation of your best receiver going down after, Mike Evans went down. Because if I'm not mistaken, Godwin, even fantasy football rankings, I think he was the number one receiver overall. So I don't get it, but it's weird, Derek, because earlier today, people had I think it was Sith Elias. He had Twitter posted and he tagged me about, why was Godwin in there at the end of the game? It was a blowout, but as mentioned before, a lot of these contracts in the NFL they're loaded with incentives. So you got to play X number of snaps in a season to get this bonus. You got to get this many receptions to get this bonus. Like, there's so many things. That's why you see a lot of these guys play, even in blowouts, they're still out there playing because every snap counts towards the total. And
this was a minute. This was towards the end of the game.
Again, I'm just making the point.
Don't you think I could see? Couldn't you see kind of why they were still in the game and Baker's still in the game? They recovered the onside kick.
Yeah,
they had got themselves kind of back in the game. They cut the lead to 10 to the point they were showing Lamar on the sideline, and you could see he wasn't happy because there was a chance that he was going to have to come back in the game.
Yeah.
So I can understand that part, but to still be going downfield like that, man, and throwing some of those passes that Baker was throwing at the end, man, he could have got paralyzed. That's the part I didn't like about it. So I could see them keeping them on the field. But at some point, man, you have to stop throwing those certain. Baker was throwing passes that if you catch, you're going to get hurt. So I'm not going to fault the coach for having them still in the game. They cut the lead to 41-31. Because if I remember correctly, wasn't it 41-17?
Yeah.
So they cut the lead. I can understand that, but I just had a problem with that look on his face, man. Maybe that's just his look, but it wasn't perfect time. It wasn't the right time.
No, and I personally, Evans already got hurt, right? So he was already out. And I get it. You have a shot at the end of the game, but why risk it? Every possession matters. It's towards the end of the game, and I get it. You still had a shot to win, but I wouldn't have had Godwin out there with his history. He's played a number of snaps. Now he's out for the year. So
take him out. I agree, Gio. You could have kept Baker in there if you had wanted to, but you put in another receiver.
Yeah,
and really, Godwin's your security blanket. You get him off the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean,
it was sad too, really, to see him go down like that. As soon as it's bad when they don't show the replay.
Oh yeah, and we've had that a lot lately. I mean, you're talking guys have been going down left and right. I don't know what it is about this season. I mean, Gio and Derek, have we really seen a season like this before, where it seemed like every week one of the top players in the NFL is out for the year after some kind of injury? Aiden Hutchinson last week. We're seeing Chris Godwin this week. Brandon Ayuk's another one this week. I mean, it's getting crazy. And then I found it even more crazy when I saw the Tua press conference, and the reporter legitimately asked him, hey, you've had a lot of concussions. Have you given any thought about playing, with that new helmet that they have, the Guardian helmet, I believe is what it's called? And he's like, no, I'm not.
Is that the guard helmet with the padding on it, like one of the guys on Tampa Bay had on?
It's the one that prevents. It's supposed to prevent or make it, less likely to have a concussion. But he refuses to wear it. my problem with Tua is that, you know what, you want to play, great. You can play. I have no problem with it. It's your life. You do what you want to do. But after all the concussions that he's had, and we're not talking concussions where you're just kind of like, and out there was times where his fingers were crooked. I mean, just massively terrible concussions. Why does a player go in thinking, okay, I'm going to play, but I'm still going to play the same way? Because they even asked him, are you worried about sliding or anything like that? He's like, I'm just there to play. I'm going to play the way I've always played. Man, there's got to be a point where a coach or somebody pulls him aside and says, you want to play, great, but you're going to have to play smarter, man. You got to play smarter. I hate to say it, but a concussion is a concussion. But what if something worse happens on the field the next time he gets laid out? Like
really, what could the league couldn't do anything, could they? Because if you go by the contracts and all that.
Yeah, but a player association.
Yeah, the league. Yeah, but I'm saying the NFL, they can't say like, this is it for you. We're not going to let you play anymore, because that would be strictly a player this situation, right?
Yeah.
You can't really tell him. No one could tell him, take away his livelihood. And that's the sad part. I guess you can't. So I don't know, man. Tua, I mean, I don't want to see him get hurt, because if he gets hurt again, it's not like these concussions are a joke. And so I don't know how he's going to continue to play, but I guess he knows something we don't know, even though it didn't work. What did he do over the summer? He took all this kind of training to learn how to fall and all that.
Yeah. He's not listening.
And then it happens again. So
it's the same thing with Robert Griffin.
RG3.
Slide, yeah. Robert, slide.
Yeah.
They hired a baseball coach.
What about Josh? What about Josh Allen? Josh didn't even want to go. Josh didn't even want to go in the booth.
Yeah.
They had to make him.
You got to protect yourself. And unfortunately, I hope Tua doesn't have some sort of crazy thing happen to him on the field to where he can't play anymore, right? This is where.
Hey, does it remind you, Gio? See, when this stuff happens, it takes me back to CTE, Junior Seau, and these kind of guys.
Yeah.
I also think about that when you start talking about these concussions and all of that, man. That's where I worry about it. And I hope Tua has the right people in his corner to remind him of situations like that. I'll never forget the great Junior Seau. And to see him go out like that, man, it was sad. It sticks in my head. And I don't want to see that happen to another player.
And we've seen a lot of guys. I mean,
yes.
Even
Antonio
Dwayne
Brown might have, yeah.
Dwayne Haskins, that was a weird situation. He was crossing a highway. It was just
got hit. Yeah, Ohio State.
You see things. There's also Rudy Demaryius Thomas, right? It's so many guys that have had some things happen, and you pray that they don't. But Tua's got to take care of himself, learn how to slide. Dude, throw the ball away. I mean, just become like Aaron Rodgers, who for the last decade has led the league in just throwaways. Just throw it away. Throw it away. Throw it away. Just throw it away. Live to see another
the nose picker.
Yeah. Just throw it away, man.
Oh, my God. Aaron Rodgers.
You heard that, huh?
Yeah, I saw that. Well, apparently someone made a comment saying that wasn't nose-picking boogers, Derek. That was sugar boogers. Is
you
what
know who was the first guy? Did you see Minshew?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that's becoming a fad now, but I hope it goes away quickly.
It should, man. We're going to go away real quick here for our first commercial break. When we get back, we're going to preview the NBA for the last couple of last minutes of the show here. We're going to try to talk to these guys a little bit too. Maybe tomorrow we can go on during the day, do a bigger NBA preview real quick halfway through the day tomorrow. We'll figure it out here. But nonetheless, we're going to go over the NBA in just a little bit. Maybe talk a little bit about your San Antonio Spurs just for a little bit. Not much to talk about there. Currently, because I'm a Debbie Downer. So we'll talk about that when we get back here. It's the Sweep the League. Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Hall of Famer Coach Gio, Rudy Campos Jr. will be back. Are you looking for a contracting company that gets the job done right the first time? Look no further than MCS General Contracting. MCS specializes in top quality concrete work, including patios, driveways, foundations, and swimming pools. The team of experts are dedicated to delivering exceptional results and unparalleled customer satisfaction. At MCS General Contracting, they're not just hardworking, they're local. Based in San Antonio, they are committed to building relationships and trust within the community. That's why MCS guarantees your satisfaction. They pride themselves on getting the job done right the first time, every time. So why wait? Contract MCS General Contracting today to schedule your project and experience the difference for yourself. MCS General Contracting, building a better San Antonio, one project at a time. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League.
For the ones who doubted, now we showing the proof. Came from the struggle, we living the truth.
STL Music.
Yeah, challenges come, but we here to stay. Built from the dirt, now we paved the way. Had a bad day, but this life ain't bad.
All right, welcome back to Sweep the League. Coach Gio, Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, Rudy Campos Jr. here on this terrific Tuesday, the Tuesday Night Delight edition of Sweep the League. This show is brought to you by MCS General Contracting, the absolute best in the business. MCS General Contracting, guaranteed to do the right the first time, guaranteed stamp of approval from Sweep the League. Contact them today. Tim wants to talk college football. We got that for maybe tomorrow or Thursday, Tim. I promise you. It's just too much to get into in the show here.
Let's
Maybe we
go
get back
Dogs and let's go Hoosiers.
Oh, God, the Hoosiers, the best not kept secret anymore in college football. I told you, Gio, if they beat Nebraska, they would have to be in the top 15 so they go undefeated. They're 13 right now, right?
They didn't just beat Nebraska. They literally – I was
Ran
watching
them
the
off
game.
field,
56-7. Nebraska was the 7th ranked defense in the country. This was like a legit team. Now, Curtis Rourke did mess up his finger. He's going to be out against Washington next week. But Tavon Jackson stepped in that second half and was just throwing darts. So it's going to be interesting to see. And also, College Game Day for the first time will be in Indiana next week. So it's going to be – but, man, geez, 56-7. I'm sitting back and thinking, man, what?
Yeah.
They could win the Big Ten.
Remember when they cracked the top 25, I told you I like them.
Yeah.
And I wasn't just saying that trying to be funny or because you like them. I really saw a good football team. And you see they continue to get better. They're becoming more impressive by the week.
I mean, that game against Michigan now, it's like I think they're going to be favored.
You think?
They should be, man.
They might blow my team. I love Amazing Blue. They might blow Michigan off the field the way they're playing right now.
So say they go – okay, so, I mean, let's hypothetically, they beat Washington. They go to East Lansing. They beat Michigan State. Then they play against Michigan in Indiana. So say they win the next 3. That'll put them at 10-0 on the year? Going into that Ohio State game.
Ohio State's the 3rd best team.
Well,
Oregon
that's what I'm saying.
And Indiana.
We'll look 3 weeks in ahead right now. Do the Hoosiers legitimately have a chance against Ohio State? Just being honest.
If they go there undefeated, I don't see why not, Rudy. Now, obviously, it's going to be a tough place to play in Columbus. Shit, maybe I'll make the trip 2.5 hours, but it's going to be a raucous crowd there. It's a team that's never had the success, but I wouldn't shock me if Indiana goes into IU and win, and then obviously at the end of the year they got the game against Purdue, so
yeah,
they could end the year with 1 loss heading into the playoffs. But as to Gazzado's point, I said they're going to beat someone they have no, reason beating. I thought they would be a good team, but man, to do what they did against Nebraska, I know it's a freshman quarterback, Rudy, but man, that offense was humming. And Kurt Signetti, Rudy, he talks a lot of trash, but he backs it up. They kept asking him in the offseason. He says, "I win. Just Google me." I mean, this is the type of stuff he's saying, and everywhere he's been, he's won. So, and Rudy, by the way, on Saturday, they had a ton of big-time recruits at Indiana. So
yeah.
the money's being put out there, and this is a program now that, hey,
I'm just gonna say that Kirk Cignetti is the official college football coach for Sweep the League. I'm gonna say that right now.
Now he's gonna get some. People are gonna be flying to try to get him. I think he stays. He doesn't seem like a guy to me that jumps ship. I mean, his first
I
head
don't know,
coaching,
man.
his first head coaching job, Rudy, was at he goes to Alabama, right, with Nick Saban for 4 years.
Yeah.
Derek, he goes to a Division II school. Nick Saban says, "Hey, are you sure you want to do this? Because you're probably going to just you know what I'm saying? He's going to disappear." He goes there to Indiana University in Pennsylvania, which is kind of funny how he's back in Indiana. And then he goes to Elon. He resurrects him. Then just James Madison. We saw what they did to your Tar Heels this year, Rudy. And then he goes to Indiana. He's turned around these programs. And he's also had coordinators for the last 10 years with him. It's a crazy story.
Yeah, he's the official trash talking college football coach for Sweep the League, man. So.
Last point, he said IU sucks, Michigan sucks, and Ohio State sucks. He said that at a basketball game. So this man just beats his own tune.
It's going to be a wild rest of the year for Indiana. So we'll see what happens now, but we're going to get into our NBA talk, NBA preview here. So, just a quick preview right now. I want to do a bigger preview show. Hopefully tomorrow we'll do a bigger one. But looking at it, I know the first game of the year was Boston and New York. And New York looked terrible. I mean, they looked terrible. But when Boston made, 33 pointers tonight? I mean, it's hard to beat a team when they're that hot already. But again, I don't put a whole lot into the first game of the season. Cat's new, Mikal Bridges is getting still acclimated. It's the first game. I'm not worried about it. But as far as overall goes, I really do love the New York Knicks this year. It's a team that's going to really, really be a tough out in the Eastern Conference. I have them in Boston really as, kind of 1-2 right now. I'm not going to stray away from that. I don't know. I remember telling Derek, I don't believe in Milwaukee still. Giannis kind of came out and said that if they don't win the championship, he expects to be moved in the offseason. So look for Giannis to find a different zip code next year because they're not winning anything this season. Outside of that, Eastern Conference wise, any other teams, because Philadelphia is already struggling. Paul George ain't going to play. Joel Embiid is already hurt. He's not playing back-to-backs. He said, I'm not going to play back-to-backs.
Rest his career.
Yeah, so forget about Philly. Indiana is a team to be reckoned with. I love Orlando. I'm high on the Orlando, Magic train right now, but it just seems like a 2-team race in the Eastern Conference, right?
Oh boy, I don't know, Rudy, because I like Milwaukee better than you do. I think the additions of Taurean Prince and Gary Trent Jr. makes them a better team, and so they're definitely going to be better defensively, and I think they also can knock down open shots. Like Trent can shoot from anywhere on the floor, and then Taurean is a good shooter from the corner, and they're going to be better defensively. But they have to do well this year because if they don't, Giannis is going to be out there in San Francisco, I believe. So this is a do-or-die season. I believe Dame has a bounce-back year. He'll be more comfortable this year. The key is, once again, Chris Middleton. That seems to be what stops them. Chris kind of reminds me of Paul George and Kawhi. We don't know every year going in now, is Chris Middleton going to be healthy? Brook Lopez is a year older. So we just got to see. I don't know if their roster is as deep as I would like for it to be, but I think Giannis is going to play this year like a man possessed. I believe he'll be in the MVP voting. And I think Milwaukee right now, I will put them ahead of Indiana. I will put them ahead of Orlando just because they have Giannis. I will put them ahead of Philly, of course, with Embiid talking that not playing back-to-back nonsense. Like he's 40 years old already. And then Paul George being banged up. Paul was actually fortunate not to be lost for a huge part of the season. So I don't like, they have Andre Drummond, Eric Gordon, but I still had questions about Philly. So right now I would say it would be Boston, the Knicks, And I would have to put Milwaukee in there. I still don't believe in Cleveland either with Donovan Mitchell and those guys. Hey, Rudy, before you go on, have you guys heard have you heard the rumor at all about, things not going well in Phoenix? And they can't move Bradley Beal. So have you guys heard anything about KD for Darius Garland and Evan Mobley?
I haven't seen that, but it wouldn't. I'll say this: it wouldn't surprise me if Phoenix moves on from Kevin Durant at some point this year. I really think you're probably going to see Kevin. I mean, what was the latest rumor before that? It was Houston, wasn't it?
Houston Rockets earlier, yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm hearing a little bit about the Mobley and Garland situation. So if things don't pan out, don't be surprised if they don't get off to a good start. Don't be surprised to see KD moved again way before the trade deadline. And if he were moved, I would say it would be Cleveland for Garland and Mobley.
Yeah, I would actually like that deal if Durant became a Cavalier. That would be a pretty good thing there. You real quick before I go to Jill, you mentioned about Giannis being on the move. You mentioned San Francisco, Golden State. Just FYI, going into next season, one team that you and I talked about where Giannis could go is the San Antonio Spurs. They would have about $25 million in freed up money, as where Golden State would probably only have a couple million, maybe about 7 million at the most. So just keeping that in mind, San Antonio is going to have a lot of money going into the offseason. They've got a lot of trade pieces as well, because you would have Keldon coming off. He's got a couple of years left. Harrison Barnes would be on the last year of his contract. Zach Collins. So you got a lot of tradable pieces that teams would want, because a lot of those salaries would come off the books. So keep on with the Spurs. I mean, I'm just saying, you and I had a talk in the car.
What's that? Too many question marks, though, because Giannis wants to go to a team that's pretty much already situated and has a chance to win. We don't know the situation next year with the point guard for the Spurs. We don't know the situation with Devin Vassell. I think there's too many ifs for Giannis to step into that situation. It was like he'd be leaving a better situation in Milwaukee for an if situation with the Spurs. And I don't think at this point in his career he's willing to do that.
What if De'Aaron Fox is a Spur?
Yeah, if he's a Spur. But that means it would have to happen around the same time they acquire Giannis during the off season. So other than that, I can't see Giannis coming down here. I know, Victor, it sounds intriguing, but he's not going to go. If you look at the rest of the roster, I mean, Harrison Barnes, Champagne, Sohan. I don't know if I'm trying to win a championship. That's not a roster I'm ready to go play with.
Good point. Gio, Eastern Conference. What do you see for your Eastern Conference? Kind of too early predictions here.
Well, last year I know y'all were laughing at me that I picked the Bucks, and obviously they flamed out pretty early. Yeah, it was still laughing. I still like this team. Giannis putting pressure on him. They got a good mix. Chris Middleton, though, I think he had surgery, Derek, if I'm not mistaken, on his ankles this offseason.
On both ankles, yes.
On both of his ankles. I'm a little concerned about that. Brook Lopez is going to be 36, 30. I don't know if this is going to just run out of gas or just have enough players, but I like the additions, as you said earlier, Derek, to potentially be maybe that third or fourth seed. Boston, obviously, I don't have to say anything, really. We saw what they did earlier. Just dismantled the Knicks. The Knicks are still going to be there. They have to incorporate the Magic, Cavs, Pacers. They all kind of round up. I got a question for y'all. The team that didn't make the playoffs, though, last year, making the playoffs this year in the East, who's that team that may shock and somehow sneak in?
For the Eastern Conference last year that did it. Now, are we talking play-in or playoffs?
No, actual playoffs.
So the actual playoffs. So that who didn't make it? It was
Atlanta, Toronto,
Chicago, Charlotte.
Okay. So I think about the two play-in teams that didn't make it. So that was Atlanta. Atlanta and Chicago.
It'd be Charlotte for me.
Yeah. I almost would say Charlotte would probably be
Brandon Miller having another year under his belt. The key is, will LaMelo be healthy? They retained Miles Bridges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For me, it would be out of all those teams. I still don't believe in Trae Young and those guys. For me, it would be Charlotte.
I would like to see finally Charlotte do something with that team. They got players. Can Ball stay healthy? That's the question, right, Derek? Can he actually
Well, that and Nick
be available?
Richards, man. I mean, I'm still kind of Nick Richards plays hard, but I don't know if he's that guy to help take them to the next step. But out of those other, I give them a better chance than Toronto. I definitely give them a better chance than Atlanta. So I'm doing it by deduction. I would have to say Charlotte.
And I do hope they can do something. I lived in Charlotte for a few years, and
Not Detroit, right, Gio? So
yeah, well, yeah. The Pistons got talent now. Like,
yeah, they have talent, but
if they can figure it out.
They look like individuals to me, though. When I watch them play, they look like a team of individuals. And I know Ivy's going to be up and down during the season, and I still don't think Cade has taken that next step yet, where he's in the elite tier with these guys we talk about, the Anthony Edwards and all those guys. I don't see, or the Devin Bookers. I don't see Cade at that level yet. So I still have a lot of question marks with the Pistons. And they're not a very big team. They still rely a lot on Isaiah Stewart. And we don't know if he's going to be mentally how he's going to be. Is he going to, all you do is give him a little shove or something. And then I love the young man, but he still hasn't proven that he can keep his composure. So and then they brought in Tobias Harris, of course.
Oh my God!
And I love Tobias, as you guys know, but I look at their team; they look small, man. They don't have any rim protectors, and then I don't know what happened to James Wiseman. I guess he's just falling off the earth basketball wise.
Well, so let me kind of throw this back on the Pistons here, because you're right. I mean, individual wise, the Pistons got a pretty nice squad if you look at it on paper. They do. I mean, I like Bickerstaff there as a coach as well. I mean, you got the I'll be honest, the starting lineup isn't the worst starting lineup in basketball. I mean, we can already thank you all Washington Wizard fans for buying your season tickets, but that was just money down the drain. So you may as well just, let's consider them already, lottery bound Washington Wizards. There's no doubt about that. But for Detroit, if JB can get Cade and Jaden Ivey and those guys to play cohesive basketball, they're going to win some games. They are better than probably a lot of people are thinking. And I mean, you can't forget Malik Beasley's there, Tim Hardaway Jr.'s there. I like Fontecchio.
Fontecchio's good.
Yeah, Fontecchio. I love his game. Right. Ron Holland didn't have a terrible preseason. And shout out to Ron Holland, because he was brought up at Big Texas Comic-Con. One of the fans there was talking to us, and she knew Ron Holland apparently. So
yeah, that young lady sure did talk about it. Yeah.
Shout out about Ron Holland. So I mean, you can't. Can we really say Detroit is it that bad of a team?
Hey, Rudy, my birthday's on the 28th. We can't factor out that they did lose 28 in a row though last year, didn't they?
They did.
And they weren't that bad on paper to me then either. So
it's strange, and maybe it's the Monty, man. Maybe it's
maybe Monty Williams Monty's, and shout out to Monty Williams.
Yeah,
down here now, Texas Military Institute. Bruce Bowens has been moved, and Monty's stepping in. And Monty gets to coach his son, and he gets to coach Bruce's son and Tim Duncan's son. So I know it didn't work in the NBA this time, Monty, so I'm wishing you well. But shout out to coming down to San Antonio and coaching Texas Military Institute.
Well, he's still getting paid, so
hey. He's really getting paid, yeah.
Yeah, he's getting
he got paid from Detroit.
He's getting massively paid. Well, I'll say this. I agree with you guys. I think Charlotte's the one team in the East that could definitely move on up in the standings. Maybe at least minimum get in the play-in tournament.
Is Mike
Rudy? Huh?
Is Michael still involved? I don't remember if he is or not.
I can't.
Didn't Michael sell his stake in the team?
I was gonna say, I think
he sold his stake.
That's why they're getting better.
Poor Mike.
I haven't been seeing him with those baggy jeans he always wears, so I wasn't sure.
Hey, Gio, do you like Brandon Miller?
I do.
What do you think? Yeah.
He has it, every time I watch him play, I'm like, man, this guy's a really good player. And not that he's just up and down, just not consistent.
Kind of like college. Yeah.
for Charlotte to take that next step, you need him and Ball to obviously, of course, stay healthy, but just be in sync. Just play ball. And like what I said about Colorado, hey, just play basketball.
You
do
did
what you have
say,
to do.
shout out to Gio. Colorado looks like a football team this year.
Oh, God.
They should have beat Kansas State. If Hunter played, remember he got hurt. If Hunter's in the whole game, I believe Colorado State is 6-1.
Look at Rudy. Rudy, we always gotta be honest about it. If you look at it, they look like a football team. Their offensive line has gotten better. The defensive line has gotten better. They've got some other guys that have played well, receivers other than just Travis Hunter. They look like that's what made them so. Their running game is better. I mean, they're better as an overall team. We have to be honest about it. They don't look bad at all.
And they beat UCF, who, by the way, UCF gave Iowa State on Saturday all it can handle. So all I'm saying is Colorado, could they
look good.
They could win the Big 12. It's possible. Now they still got to play Kansas, and they got to play some other teams. But Kansas has just completely fallen off. Jalen Daniels, really, I don't know what happened there.
Went from Heisman.
Hey, but Gio, I gotta give you credit when things go well. We take credit. So, I picked. Remember, I only picked Colorado. My partner right here, we picked Colorado to win about 5 games.
Yeah, we did.
So I have to give them credit. They already at 5, and one more win, they bowl eligible, and for sure they're going to win one more game and more than one. So I have to say it's a successful season for Deion and his crew. Yeah.
He's up for Coach of the Year. I'll say this, though. Army and Navy, those teams have been playing very well. Interesting, Rudy. Yeah. I found out that the Army-Navy game is not a conference game. It's a special game that's obviously played, I think, week 15. I don't think anyone even plays. The playoffs thing will be out before, I believe, the Army-Navy game. It's going to be a weird time if both teams are undefeated. So
Army plays us this year.
Yeah, UTSA Army last game.
And I believe it's here too.
It's insane. We're gonna be there for the thrashing.
Listen. I've seen Army. I've bet on Army before, and even Navy too. Army runs the ball. It's like a poetry in motion, Derek. You watch the option and you watch how quick they do it. They also do it very differently from shotgun. They just do a lot of different things. It's not your old school kind of option. This is a very unique offense. And I think Navy's playing Notre Dame. Watch out, because this is a hard offense to stop.
They're good. They're good.
They're really good. This is actually a good football team, and I won't be surprised if Army or Navy squeak into the playoffs, if they surprise someone and beat them. This is very impressive.
Hey, Rudy, can I go off script for a second? I'm sorry, just for a second.
Yeah.
You guys, now we looked at, last week, I believe Travis Hunter sat out, right?
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about the Heisman race now? A young man from Boise State. I'm just asking.
To me, it's still Genty. I mean, I don't.
As number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. Still Genty as number 1. And a little bit more now after Travis Hunter said that if he had as many receptions as Genty had carries, he would be the number 1 Heisman candidate, period. But I don't think Travis understands it.
Rudy, I'm sorry. I got one more thing. I know you guys have heard it. Tell me, is this true or not? Do you believe Quentin Ewers, Mr. Ewers, is he sitting out the rest of the season?
No.
You don't believe that when you heard that, huh?
No, they said that it was a false report, but
I'm sure it is.
He didn't show up for media day.
Well, I'm just saying that's what they said. That 247 Sports put out that he said he would sit out the rest of the year. I can't see him sitting out the rest of the year just because they lost to Georgia, unless he's injured. If he's injured, totally different.
He is injured, Rudy, but it's mentally. How do you think he felt?
Well, okay. If he sits out the rest of the year to prepare for the NFL draft, then and he's not injured, Derek. I mean, you say mentally, then you're basically screwing yourself out of draft position.
I
Well,
don't
why are
know.
you going to give up the entire year just
Because
because?
Exactly.
hey, look, hey, we gotta remember now as an athlete, man. Athletes are very sensitive people. You get benched during that game in the heat of the battle.
Well, Stark
the coach
said he just
benches you.
wanted his mind to be.
He can say whatever he wants to say.
Yeah.
But you talking about a guy that was in the Heisman running last year.
Yeah.
You get benched, and you already know people are crying out for Arch to play, and you bench him, and then you go back to him in the second half, man. You knew he wasn't going to be the same when he went
I'll
back in
say
that game.
this: if Manning was balling out, you would have never seen him back in the game.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Only because Manning didn't ball out is why Sark went back to him. I told you guys from the beginning, I do not believe in Steve Sarkisian. What he did has caused friction in the locker room because now you got Ewers guys and you got Manning's guys. And that's something that the coach created in the locker room. That friction is going to hurt them. You watch before the year is out.
Hey, they got an interesting matchup. They're playing number 25 Vandy. And I know it's funny. Like we laughed about that game before the season, Rudy. We're not laughing right now because if this is a snowball effect, if Vandy has the ball over 40 minutes against Alabama, things get interesting. They also play Florida, who, by the way, just blew out Kentucky. So it's going to be interesting. They got to go to Fayetteville and Arkansas is always going to play it tough. So, Rudy, do you think this is a snowball effect, or do you think they get right on track against Vandy?
So I think, to be honest, I think they get back on track. I think they do beat Vandy. I don't think it's going to be as convincing as a lot of their other victories are, but I think they do beat Vandy. Again, beginning of the year, I said, Texas, I have a national championship. I expect them to win. But I did say at the beginning of the year that they were going to have one hiccup. It would either be Georgia or one of the rivalry games. That hiccup right now is Georgia. The other tough game I do see is A&M at the end of the year.
At College Station.
And it's at College Station. But I think we already hit that bump in the road for Texas. They got a taste of SEC.
Really? You benched that man on national TV, man. So you guys make sure you're watching Texas and you make sure you're watching the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm telling you, man. The Steelers as well. Because now you bring in Russell and he puts up 37. So if Russell goes into one of his bad streaks, how do you bring Justin Fields back? That affects a team.
They looked a lot better. I mean, they were winning with Justin, but they looked a lot better with Russell.
One game, though. We know, but we've seen Russell go up and down. But I'm just saying the mental aspect of being an athlete. And you've been Tomlin was talking all this stuff like he believed in Fields. They were 3-0, and then you struggle. And then it's like the coach panics. It's the same with Sarkisian. You benched that young man on national TV, man. I mean, and you heard Gio. If Arch played good, he wouldn't have come back. Ewers wouldn't have come back in the game. So you're basically going back to him, not because you believe he's the best option. You basically telling him, I don't believe in you as much as you thought I believed in you.
Question: if they lose 2 more games, does Sark get fired, or if it's simply a disaster at the end of the year?
Again, I need to bring up the video from beginning of the year. I said if Sark doesn't win a national title or get a national title appearance, he's fired. That's what I've said at the beginning. This is the best Texas team you have seen assembled in a very long time. We're talking back when they played USC at the Rose Bowl for the national title. This team is like that. It's built to win. It's built to win now. If he can't do it this year, there's no reason to believe he can do it any other year after this. And that's why I 100% staying the course. If they don't win the national title or get to the championship game, you have to think about buying him out and getting rid of him.
Do you believe Ewers is all in now on Sark like he was from the beginning?
No.
I don't think so.
Well, that's the stuff I'm talking about that filters into the locker room.
because when he made the change and he said, "Oh, I just wanted for him to clear his mind," I'm thinking to myself, "Really? You're really gonna say that?" And now I'm sure Texas. I don't live in Austin, clearly, but I know there's a lot of rumblings going on this week, and they got to prepare for Vandy because Rudy, I'm telling you right now, that matchup.
No, I believe you. I believe you.
It's not going to be as easy. Now Texas could end up pulling away at the end there, blowing them out, but I'm just saying it's going to be tough. And that Florida game ain't going to be easy. The Kentucky A&M, So
I believe you. I mean, I'm not saying I don't believe you.
Ray Dean, stop it, my man. It's the first game of the season. The Lakers are playing off adrenaline, just like Boston. Boston shot better this first game of the season than they'll shoot the other 81 games.
Boston
Boston had 100 points in 3 quarters. Like that.
Derek White was, my God, that dude was shooting threes.
Jason Tatum.
Tatum had over, I think, tennis. It was
this will be Tatum's best shooting game of the season, and it's only game number 1.
Yeah, and then you put him on your parlay tomorrow, and then he's a disaster. It's just
they got those rings, man. The Lakers are saying tonight, right now, playing off adrenaline. But you got to remember, with the Lakers, there's 2 halves.
Yeah, I won't ever deny that. So, but nonetheless, we did see the Bronny and LeBron check-in game tonight. You know, father-son duo. Everybody made a thing of it. Now that that's over, let's get the real basketball season started. We got a couple minutes, man. We went off course a little bit here just for the Western Conference. Just a quick preview on the Western Conference for the NBA. I still like Minnesota in the West, even though they moved on from Cat. I don't think they got any worse. Julius Randle, for me, helps them out a whole lot more. Love his presence there. Dante DiVincenzo, I think he's going to be a really good difference maker for them. I still like Minnesota in the Western Conference. One team that I look at for possibly being a team to reckon with is the Memphis Grizzlies. I think with a healthy healthy Desmond Bane, I know Memphis is going to make the playoffs this year. And also, I can't lie, man. I'm gonna go get me a jersey of a certain Memphis guy right now who just got signed, and he quickly becomes one of my favorite players in Yuki Kawamura. 5'8" guy. And some of these dimes that he was laying, to his teammates was like, holy cow, I love this guy. But nonetheless, I think Memphis is built really good this year, but I like Minnesota in the West. I think Denver's going to be there. Kawhi's not playing. So to me, the Clippers are probably bottom tier team now. I don't believe in James Harden ever. So, if we're looking at standing wise in the West, Pelicans, Mavericks, Nuggets, not Warriors, Timberwolves, Kings, definitely, Oklahoma City. That's 7 teams right there. Memphis is another one. That's your 8 teams. You got
Rockets.
2 playing teams, Rockets, Phoenix. Sorry, Spurs fans. There's just too many teams in the West to even think about considering competing for a play-in spot. I'm sorry. You
didn't even say Golden State.
No, I don't even think.
Golden State.
Yeah, Golden State, the Lakers are still going to be there. It's going to take 47 wins maybe to get into the play-in, possibly. At least minimum play-in game, 46, 47 wins. So
it's going to take at least 45.
Yeah. So if Spurs fans think 23-game turnaround is going to happen this year,
Spurs in the bottom 4, they could have a tournament with like Washington, Utah, Spurs, and what? I'm just kidding, people, but it's
no, you're not. You're not a Debbie Downer. I'm the Debbie Downer,
Derek.
I'm the Debbie Downer.
Hey, watch out for Zach Edey, man. He's been playing pretty good. Like, I know there was a knock on him coming in too slow, this or that, but there is a space for that back to the basket. He could particularly shoot okay. I think he's going to fit right well. Memphis is a team that
Rudy
is going to be good.
Yo, would you put right now though? Rudy said Minnesota. You agree with that, or would you put?
I'm going Oklahoma City.
My 2 top teams are the Mavericks, and first is OKC, and then the Mavericks.
And I forgot about
both of them over Minnesota.
Yeah,
no,
I just think Oklahoma City.
I mean, Minnesota for me, I love the dynamic for Minnesota, but I mean, I completely forgot about the Thunder. I would take the Thunder as number 1 in the West, but I do have Minnesota still over probably Dallas. I think just for the meantime, I just like Minnesota right now. I think where everybody thought that losing Cat was terrible, it's not as bad as people think. But Oklahoma City, they just went from, okay, you're the number 1 seed and you're amazing, to holy shit, are we going to be able to compete? Because Hardenstein, I mean, that addition puts them way above everybody else for me.
But Rudy, as far as Minnesota, sometimes a guy plays better when he's in a role like coming off the bench.
Yeah.
So now that Naz Reid is going to have more of a weight on his shoulders, I think they're going to miss that size, having Cat and Rudy Gobert in there.
Wait, but you have the defensive player of the year, Derek. Huh? You have the defensive player of the year on your team.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes you got two guys that match together.
I know.
Because you could play Cat. It's just something about him and Rudy, their length. And sometimes just the length alone, you don't have to be a great defender, but just your length. And I don't know, Naz, it's going to be different because Naz Reid has a different role now. And we got to see how that affects the team. But I like Minnesota, but with Julius Randle, we don't know how that's going to work out. So we know what we already know about OKC. And remember, OKC brought in Isaiah Hardenstein and Alex Caruso. So that really makes them a very potent team. And Lou Dort and all those guys. And then
Lou can defend, man. He can defend.
I think Dallas is going to be better.
There's so many. There's just so many teams. Spurs fans, I'm sorry. This is not the fight you want to come into. And, we talk about all these teams. Sacramento, Keegan Murray. I expect him to take another step in his kind of process.
Don't forget DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, he's another one. Sabonis.
And then he's going to make Keegan Murray even better playing with DeMar DeRozan, because now Murray will get even better shots than he got last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Jazz. I don't expect the Jazz to make the playoffs, but that's another team standing in San Antonio's way. I
was going to ask you, are the Jazz better than the Spurs?
Yes.
That was a very fast yes, and I'm gonna say I kind of think they are better than San Antonio.
You do?
I have them slightly better than San Antonio.
Wow.
I hate to say it, as I'm gonna get murdered in San Antonio.
And it was fast, Rudy. I didn't hesitate.
Yeah, you didn't even think about it. You didn't even think about it. You just said yeah. But
Jordan, what's his name? Clarkson.
Corey
Mark, and then
George.
To be honest, Derek, they got one of the better athletes in the draft in Cody Williams. I mean, their second unit, it's Patty Mills, Jordan Clarkson, Cody Williams, Bryce Sensabaugh, and Walker Kessler. I mean, that's not a bad backup, bad rotation there for the second unit. I mean, Taylor Hendricks, Laurie Markkinen, John Collins. That's a pretty good front
court. We got
court.
Zach Collins, man. Did you forget?
The question is, are they better than
Zach Collins? We got the wrong Collins.
Are they better than Portland?
Yes, the Spurs are better than
Portland. Spurs be better than Portland.
Yeah,
my guy has disappointed me. I thought that Scoot Henderson was going to be a star. I don't see that now after watching Scoot last season, and I don't see him making a whole lot of improvement. I don't like Portland that much. And then we know the situation at center. What's that guy from Phoenix that they got? DeAndre Ayton. Another malcontent. We don't know. He's only happy if he's getting the ball. And I really believe Ayton thinks he's a 25-point-a-game scorer. So I still don't believe in Portland.
And then he's sharp to play more games. He was hurt a lot last season. So that's a team. I would say the Spurs are better than them, but everybody else.
Grant. Who they got? Yeah, Jeremy Grant.
They just got a bunch of Jags over there, man.
Well, I kind of like the only player I really like there. I mean, the rookie Klingon. I'm not.
Now that helps. He had 20 rebounds the other night.
Yeah, I like his game for Portland, but again, you go back to what you said there. You have to tell DeAndre you may have to ride the pine a little bit here, and he ain't gonna like that.
Where should Klingon be? I told you, man.
Yeah, he should have been in San Antonio.
Klingon should have been here, man, with Victor.
You know what? I love Portland. We got to have one more team in that area. Sonics will be up soon. I'm just waiting for the announcement one of these days.
That would be great too, Gio. You know, a lot of the players are former players. They want a team in Seattle again.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I believe Oklahoma City said that they would give their history, whatever, back to Seattle, which I mean, hello, it just makes sense for them to get that back. And but you know, Portland, I think another 20-something win season, whatever how many was that last year. But the West is going to be so exciting. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch. The Eastern Conference, I don't care, but the West, that's where it's at.
Pop's going to have white hair by the time this season is over. Oh, he already does. My
like, how much more whiter can the hair get for Pop?
Really? So is this Pop's last year?
Every time I say yes, the guy comes back.
They win 30
just
games.
Don't say nothing, Rudy. Just don't say anything.
If they win 30 games, you think he sticks around for another year or two? Or do they force him out? Or let him go up into the office, work up in there with R.C. Buford?
That's the problem is okay, the problem is if it's any other coach, they get forced out. I mean, we saw Jerry Sloan get forced out of Utah. I mean, you would think any coach would get forced out. Why is Pop any different? I mean, I get the titles. Hey, I get the titles.
5 of them.
I mean, if you really look apparently Phil Jackson was forced out of LA.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Well, Phil living in one place, and we know now that's a different situation. For one, he's dating Jeannie Buss.
Yeah.
It's a lot of different. And then Phil also didn't like dealing with the Kurt Rambis and his wife's situation.
Yeah.
So there was a lot going on. If you look at him, Magic stepped out of there. Magic Johnson, we don't know the identity still. And it hasn't been the same since Dr. Buss stepped down.
Yeah.
Jeannie's not as motivated as he was. And it's just been a different time. So I could see them Phil not really wanting to be there anymore. So was he forced out or did he kind of leave on his own? I mean, we'll never really know the true story.
Well, I think the story behind it was they were on a road trip and Mitch Kupchak was on that road trip. And apparently he told all of the staff that they were fired, that they were going to be fired at the end of the year. This was during the playoffs, the last playoff run they had with Phil Jackson. So apparently Phil called Jeannie and it was like, what's going on? What the hell is happening? And yeah, Mitch was like, hey, y'all, after the season, y'all are gone. So that's what kind of started. Ben, this came from Jeannie Buss, actually, on that interview. Yeah, it came from Jeannie. So yeah, it was, I mean, but the thing is, why are people scared to tell Pop, look, 22 win season, 22 win season.
Who's going to tell them?
Watch what I'm saying. 30 win. You have ownership. There's a good way. There's a nice way and polite way to say stuff, Derek. I mean, it's like, hey
man, you've been
just not getting it done. We're just not getting it done. I mean, you got to have a change. You do. That's just my opinion. But does he coach next year? I think if the free agents that we're thinking come along and the draft picks that they get in 2025 come along, if that team starts to like really build itself, I could maybe see him coaching another year.
If they don't win this year, I could see them asking him to step down. And the reason I say that, if it was Peter Holt, then I think Peter Holt would let him go out when, however he wants to go out. But now that it's PJ
kids, yeah,
and the sister PJ Holt, Peter Jr. For those that don't know who PJ is, I know PJ. With him and the sister taking over, I think if it doesn't work this year, they'll come to some kind of mutual agreement where it doesn't seem like Pop is stepping down, like they're not making him step down, but they'll basically be making him step down.
Well, it's almost like the Pete Carroll situation, right? Pete didn't want to go, but they're like, hey, we letting you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying Pop doesn't deserve to stay and do this and do that, but at the end of the day, look, we love you, Pop. We love what you did. It's time for a change.
Time for a change, yeah.
What's wrong with a change? Some of these Spurs fans are living in 1999. That's a long time ago, dude. Or 2005 or 2000, whatever.
Go drink your wine, man. We thank you for all you've done. We're going to put your jersey up in the rafter. They're going to put a Pop jersey. And
pop jersey, give him a statue. I don't care. Like,
and let him. Yeah, I agree with
and just
that.
let him go. So I think the time is coming. But he probably wishes he was a little younger because he knows he got Victor back there, and that's a hell of a player in the next 5 years. We can only imagine. But yeah, it's probably time. Yeah, I mean, look at Bill Belichick. I mean, could Pop get another job? Sure, if possible.
But would he want another job? Probably not. Well, he can't get the TMI job anymore because that's been filled by Monty Williams.
This is it. This year, to me, even if he does well, if they over exceed, I still say this is it. This is the swan song for Greg Popovich.
Yeah,
and then go hire Becky, okay?
So. No.
Oh wait, you know what?
She's not leaving Vegas.
I want to talk about the WNBA real quick. We just have a few extra minutes.
I'll give you a few extra minutes.
Congrats to the New York Liberty. I'm from New York. It was great to see. But
them being cheated, yeah.
But the foul shots, I mean, was it
27 to 8?
27 to 8?
In a game that was physical the entire time, by the way.
And Collier was getting zero free throws in that game. She finished second in MVP. Now, granted, her other teammates besides McBride showed up, but the other ones, Williams didn't show up. She was shooting bricks. A lot of people didn't show up, but man, I mean, to have that foul discrepancy, because both teams, Derek, they were complaining about fouls not being called one way, this way, but there was a picture that Collier posted up, Derek. I don't know if you saw it. She was literally hit in the face.
Yeah, I saw it.
And the refs didn't call that foul. I don't want to take away what New York did. I thought their role player off the bench, I forgot her name. She stepped up big and came in and played well for them. But
Sabali was one.
Yes,
Sabali played. Yeah,
Sabali and Sabrina. I know shooters shoot, but man, 1 for 19, Derek.
The biggest play of the game, though. Everybody's talking about that last foul, or was it a foul or not a foul? What about the travel before the foul?
Yeah, I was hearing about. Yeah, I was hearing about that too.
Obvious crowd, but nobody talked about that. The coaches didn't. Cheryl Reeves didn't talk about that. She's talking about the foul. No one talked about the travel. So obvious a travel.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have made. If I was a ref there, I probably would let it go and just say, "Hey,
really?"
Yeah.
They did, but I mean that's an obvious travel. Rudy, you saw she took 2 steps before she dribbled the ball.
Man, LeBron travels almost every play.
I know, but LeBron's in the NBA.
No, I know.
No, I just didn't want to see the refs basically decide the game. That's all I'm saying. I wanted to see the best team. But here's the one thing I do give New York credit for. They Cheryl Reeves is talking and complaining, and I understood it. But you did get a chance to go to overtime, and you still had a chance to seal the deal, and they didn't. The first 3 shots of the overtime were all taken by the little point guard, Williams.
Yeah.
And I had a problem with that. You didn't have your best players making plays at the beginning of overtime. And to me, that's really where they blew the game.
And that's the difference.
Well, go ahead. Yeah. And to me, it seemed like they went into overtime just defeated already. Is what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
I just looked when I saw the first couple of plays where Williams was taking the shots, I was like, man, Minnesota just looks defeated. They just, I don't know. It just looks like a defeated team. So,
I mean, if you look at the stats from that game, I mean, Williams, 4 points, Derek. If you get 10, 15, the Lynx
probably play well. Heidemann didn't play well because both of the guards, I think the physical play bothered them. And I got to be honest, they let Jonquel Jones get away with a lot.
Jesus.
Even when she fell on Elena Smith, and then they turned it into a foul on Smith, and she about crushed her head into the floor.
Yeah. So you know what Jones remind me of?
I'll just say they got some home court breaks.
Man, Jones remind me of kind of a Zach Randolph. She's just getting
that ball. She is Zach Randolph, sir. She's the female Zach Randolph is what I named her.
Going in there,
and she looks kind of like him.
She kind of looks like him, and she's playing like him. And I felt like all series, like I said, Minnesota really don't have an answer. I know Smith is a really good player. I think she made second team all defense, but it's just Jones, the way she's been playing, and the foul calls are going one way. They got home cooking, but finally the New York Liberty are champions. I can't wait for next season.
It was great. It was a great tournament, man. So there is basketball other than Caitlin Clark. They had
Derek loves just saying that.
Everybody kept talking about Caitlin. We see the game go. No player is bigger than the game, and I thought it was a fantastic finals.
I think they're expanding the format, right, Rudy?
They're changing. They're going to another 5 game. They're going to 45 game season. They changing the first round instead of that 2 out of 3. They're going 3 out of 5 in the first round, and then the other series, I believe, the finals now be 4 out of 7. Like the men.
7 games.
I'm glad to see that. That means more pay as well.
And I think the woman actually, if I'm not mistaken, Rudy, I saw an article saying the women's have broken the collective bargaining agreement. They're looking for potentially, I guess, more money, or they're looking into that. So
they lost $40 million.
That's another thing too, though. And James Dolan is peeking his head around, and he's starting to complain to the owners, hey, like, what's going on? We're losing money. I hope that the WNBA never disappears, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so the WNBA did opt out of the current CBA with the WNBA. So they're looking for just players looking to secure transformational change after monumental season. I get it, man. You had that kind of season earning, consistent sellout on a lot of games, especially where Caitlin played. Yeah, but you saw the ratings go up a lot in a lot of these games. Even the WNBA playoffs, the ratings were, they were through the roof, man. This is probably one, if not the best finals we've seen in the WNBA.
Oh, so, but according to Brittany Therese, the WNBA don't pay her bills. So, hopefully with a higher check, they'll be able to pay her bills. But
really pay her own bills, including the fines she's gonna get.
Yeah.
Don't live above your means. Put it that way.
you talking about you talking about Angel
Reese?
Yeah. Talking about her $8,000 a month for rent or whatever, right?
I said, we don't care. And just go get yourself in the gym and let's see what you got next year.
Hey, Rudy, I know we get ready to get out of here, but to where that you talking about disrespect to your team, to come in there with a one side Minnesota and the other side New York, man.
I thought that was odd to me.
That was very odd. Very odd. I didn't quite understand that at all. I guess you're supporting both teams, yeah, but I don't know.
You play for Chicago.
Mm-hmm. You should come in with a Sky jersey or something.
Well, she only been in the league 2 more years anyway, so if that.
All right, man. Well, you know what? We went pretty long tonight. We'll see if we're going to be back on tomorrow. If not, we'll do a rerun of this show right here. But again, congratulations to Derek Gervin going into UTSA Hall of Fame this past weekend. Also, congratulations to Gio and his Georgia Bulldogs going into Austin. And I'm just going to congratulate myself because I was called out finally on my BS for.
Did North Carolina win?
I quit paying attention for a while there, so I'm just going to say that both teams played hard, and because both teams played hard, we're going to see you guys again here for Sweep the League. We're going to come back to you tomorrow. We'll be back on Thursday. Go over NFL, NCAA picks on Thursday. We'll see if we can get in the Friday show to get more picks as well. New graphic coming, so. When we make our picks, we're going to be posting our picks for all you people out there to show how great Gio and Derek are picking the games and how I'm just a 500 guy when it comes to picking college and NFL games. So for Coach Gio, for Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, Rudy Campos Jr., until we sweep it again, we'll see you later, Knuckleheads.
Everybody have a good night.
Are you a hockey fan looking for the latest on the Edmonton Oilers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and NHL news of the week? Barry and Carson Best bring it all to you on the Best Boys Center Ice podcast. They break down games, provide insider updates, and keep you up to speed every week. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and join their hockey family.
Welcome to the Lean Left, Lean Right podcast, where spirited debates and open discussions reign supreme. Join hosts Rudy and Shemaya as they dive headfirst into the hottest topics in politics and beyond. They're all about seeking common ground without losing their passion for their perspectives. If you're ready for real talk and honest opinions, subscribe now and join the conversation.
We build a legacy, yeah, they know the name. STL music, it's a movement, not just a claim. Loyalty, respect, that's the code we honor. In the face of adversity, we stand and stronger. We build a legacy, yeah, they know the name. STL music, it's a movement, not just a claim. Loyalty, respect, that's the code we honor. In the face of adversity, we stand and struggle.